All right, so I'm going for a walk to the store on this beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. You know, shout out to the late great Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers neighborhood. You know, I used to sing that song. A lot of us grew up on a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So let's get down to it. Yesterday was a big slate of games. I will say one of the games disappointed me. I thought Giannis and the crew would come back and tie the series, but they lost. They lost one of their, looked really bad having an Achilles injury, man, for the guy Dame. It's that has got to take a lot out of a team. And hopefully, prayers for Dame. I'm not the biggest Dame fan in the world, but you do not want to see that happen. You're talking about one of the better players, one of the best players in the league, probably top 20 still at this point. And even though it hasn't been the most seeming fit there in Milwaukee, you just don't want to see that. At no point do you want to see anything like that. So, prayers for Dame. Looks like Indiana's going to move on, play the Cleveland Cavaliers, more than likely. I picked Milwaukee in that series. I said they have a heart of a champion. I said they have the heart of a champion, and that would help them get through the series. But unfortunately, they're just down dogs. Maybe they can rally, win 3 straight. With a guy like Giannis, you can't rule that out, but it seems like Indiana owns Milwaukee lately. So Indiana owns Milwaukee lately. So matchup wise, it's just been a tough matchup. Also Orlando. I thought Orlando would pull out. That was a close game down the stretch as well. I thought Orlando would pull it out, but Orlando, I thought Orlando would get a couple of games in this series. They very well could have. They very well could have won game 2, and they did win game 3. But Boston at the end of the day just got more pieces, got more guns. But Orlando is a team to be watched. It's depending on what they do. Okay, so obviously the main event. And it's the ones that got everybody's talking. Were the first 2 games yesterday. And so from those 2 games, we're going to pull a lot of receipts. I'm going to pull a lot of receipts. Because, as anybody that watched my channel knows, I'm a Knicks fan. Some might say a delusional Knicks fan, right? Some might say an over-emotional Knicks fan. I like to tell people who I interact with, thing about me is I don't get too high and I don't get too low. That's why when people tag me during winning streaks no one tagged me during winning streaks when the Knicks want to win. When the Knicks lose a couple of games, the Knicks lost the big games, right? We were they remind me of how we were 0-9, 0-11, 0-12 against the real contenders, right? And, funny, we were 0-2 against the Lakers, 0-2 versus Golden State. So they include those 2 teams in the contenders, right? Okay, I said all along, I don't got those 2 teams as contenders whatsoever. I didn't believe in those 2 teams at any point. I did see what the Jimmy trade did for them. Cool. The Jimmy trade made them better. Cool. But I never bought it. I never bought it for 1 second. I never bought Golden State. I bought it for a round or 2. But we're talking about, and again, you got 2 teams. I understand this is a small ball era. But you got 2 teams without a center. And Here's where this is gonna be complicated. This video might go long because here's where the receipts are gonna be starting to be pulled. All right, this is my first time coming to this park by my new place. You know, it's pretty cool up here. So I'm gonna rest before I hit the store and do this video. So here's where I'm gonna start pulling these receipts, because if you understand, like, Keeks Speech Row is a guy who stands on business. I stand on what I say. I made this channel because I know how the media cycle works and how the ESPNization of certain platforms and things go. I understand, you basically, people will look at the last thing that happened and will make their entire argument or their entire thing based on what you just saw, without really looking at the big picture. That's what I try to do. Okay, so we're gonna get to what I've seen with the Knicks and Lakers. Look, has the Knicks proven that they can play with the Celtics yet? No. I mean, we've proven that we're, especially considering everybody's darling was the Detroit Pistons, right? And Detroit had a nice little segment a segment of the game yesterday where, and I should start there. Let me start there, because that was the first game. That was, even Carcino's live went straight through the Lakers game. He didn't do a live until the morning reacting to the Lakers game, but he live reacted based on his Knick live, So let me start there. And I was on that live for a while, right? I went on that live. I came back. I went to go shout out to my boys on Old Ball, watch the end of their show, and then I came back to Sino. All right. By the time the Lakers game was over, he was still live and he was still streaming. I was trying to get back in the chat, but my boy Robert dipped. I wanted to give it to Robert. He appeared on my podcast a couple of times. So he was on Sino's yesterday, and I wanted to give it to him. Pause. I wanted to give him some slack. Based on, not slack, I want to give him some hell. Watching, again. All right. Let me stay focused. So let me stay focused with the Detroit. Again, if anybody catches my post, I sit there and say, only ones that look, that they were crushing and grabbing. And this has not been just yesterday, been the whole series. I mean, it's at the point where Detroit grabs until there's a whistle. And there's a reason why Tobias Harris had 5 fouls. There's a reason why Jalen Duren has been in foul trouble and Azor Thompson has basically almost played himself off the court with the fouls he's been picking up. There's a reason why that. And again, look, y'all can say whatever y'all want about Jalen Brunson, and I'm gonna go this route too. It seems like Cade Cunningham, and he's the truth. He's a good-looking player. Number one, he's not really a point guard. You might, again, I think this is the dynamic that they had with Jaden Ivey is more with Jaden Ivey, and they are truly missing Jaden Ivey. All right, he's not the greatest shooter, and that might take away from the outside shooting, because Cunningham is a decent outside shooter, but anyway, Jaden Ivey gives them a second creation point guard. He's probably more of a real point guard than Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is a big guard who you can run the offense through. He's not a point guard. I mean, again, I'll say this, that Jalen Brunson isn't really a point guard in the traditional sense. This is a different game now where you can get scoring from anywhere. You get scoring from your most skilled player. And your most skilled player can shoot outside. He can shoot inside. He can get to the basket. This is this era of game. So I'm just gonna boil it down to the foul call at the end, bro. There were two. First of all, there were 2 missed calls before that. There's no way that Tobias Harris out rebounds Josh Hart where Josh Hart boxes him out and has position on the ball. So there was clearly an over the back. And even when the ball broke loose, Tobias Harris' foot was on the end line as he tipped it over to Tim Hardaway Jr. So that should have been called out of bounds Knicks ball. Before we get to the foul, ref swallowed their whistle, like they did most of the game. So I mean, like this, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Look, Detroit is a good team. I think they were where Orlando was the last couple of years. They're where OKC was a couple of years ago. You know, they're where Cleveland was 3 years ago. This is it. You know, when you have a number one overall pick and you build around high draft picks, and these guys are 19, 20 coming into the league, you know, it takes a couple of years. And Detroit is on schedule to become a contender in the East next year. This ain't the year. They're not as good as the Knicks. They're just not. It's just not. The Knicks could have, really, the Knicks sold out a lot of wide open threes. They could have been up 20-something. Now, again, they went on that run, and again, I think that's when Cade Cunningham himself woke up, and it seemed like everything was downhill. That's when a star player can only score when things are downhill, when things are looking up and your team goes on a run. Actually, Tobias Harris, and I've always liked Tobias Harris as a player, but I realize he's just a mildly good guy. He's just a mildly good player. He's not special. He does a lot of things well. He's not big. You know, he plays power forward because he can play power forward in this era at 6'8". He's a small forward in any other era. He's solid at a lot of things. He's great at nothing. He's solid at a lot of things. He's great at nothing. He's a mildly good player. But yeah, and he basically started that run, and it took one of your role players for you to get going. And that's what is bothering me a little bit about Cade Cunningham, right? So yeah, when basically the Knicks were down 61-59, and Schroeder was, and again, this is thing with Brunson is why we're gonna need another guard. We're gonna need another guard who can either a combo guard off the bench or a second point or a bigger type ball handling guard. We can make a two guard. So if that means trading even Hart and Bridges to get that guy, I'm all for it. And that could be a LaMelo Ball type player. You understand what I'm saying? That could be, like, I would trade Bridges and Hart and some other things for LaMelo Ball in a hot minute. But look, again, this is going into the off season. This is just analyzing what ails the Knicks. But on that play, Jalen Brunson was able to be pressed by a sub-mediocre defender in Dennis Schroeder. And Dennis Schroeder ripped him. Dennis Schroeder then, in the midst of the loose ball, kind of turned in. And you could see with Jalen Brunson, like the ankle's not 100%. And when Jalen Brunson takes any sort of real contact on that, it's going to like, he's playing on a bum ankle right now. And that this is what you gotta salute the man. He is playing on a bum ankle and is number 2 in scoring. Again, we gotta watch that. We gotta really watch. We gotta, anytime it's a fall or anything, we gotta make sure that nobody falls on an ankle. Nobody, because again, you saw what happened to Dame. Right? So, yeah, I mean, there's no structural damage. It's just, I mean, I never had an ankle turn, but you can see that, that ankle is not going to be 100% till he rests for a good month or two and then comes and works it out in the off season. It's not going to be 100%. Ankle injuries can linger for a while, man. Even LeBron claims his ankle injury from 2021 is still bothering him. All right? So it is what it is on that front. But, at that point, Schroeder, they actually passed it, got the layup, the dunk. They went up 63-59. Brunson goes to the bench. I think we had the foul the next play. Brunson goes to the bench. We had to call timeout. Brunson goes to the bench and he goes to the locker room. He comes back in with 9 minutes to go. He scores 15 points in the fourth quarter. Here's the first narrative that I want to jump on because, for you guys, because there's a lot of things that was been found out yesterday. A lot of things got exposed yesterday. Brunson is the clutch player of the year. He's probably one of the best clutch players in the NBA, top 3. The idea that LeBron is the clutch player, again, Ant-Man, right? When people get mad, Knicks fan get mad at Ant-Man, to show that he's that dude as well. Because Ant-Man sure showed up in his fourth quarter. But LeBron scored 0 points in the fourth quarter. And it's two things to realize here. JJ Redick treated it like a must-win game. And he took what he thought, and I bet you analytics tells him this, was his best 5-man lineup. I bet you JJ Redick read the analytics page and said, my best 5-man lineup is this. Over the course of the season, it probably was, since they made the trade, Luka, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron, so Luka, LeBron, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka, LeBron, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Austin Reeves. That probably was statistically his best 5-man lineup, and he decided, let me go with this lineup for the entire second half. I seen Tibbs play Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson 48 minutes in a must-win-or-go-home game against Miami a couple of years ago. That's good. That's one thing. But to play an entire 5 for the second half has never been done. I don't think has been done since the 60s, if it was done back then. For an entire half in the playoffs. I think it's never been done. And if it was done, it had to be done back in the 60s. You know, back in that era where y'all said it was so easy and this, we're going to get into that shit later. And what was exposed there is LeBron not having any fourth quarter points. This is after not scoring any fourth quarter points. And again, I know, look, guy, he's 40. Anybody that catches this part of the video is going to hate. Oh, he's 40. He's 40. See, I'm going to say this. I finally found a way to verbalize this. You cannot both use LeBron James being 40 and what he's doing as both a highlight and a crutch. You got to pick one or the other. Either it excuses all of his bad performances or it's a highlight. And but you can't do both. You can't do both. He's going to get criticized like any other player on the court. He's going to, no one is sitting there saying Chris Paul was giving the San Antonio Spurs great leadership for 39. Again, I get it. Look, if you're going to if your coach is going to believe in you that you can do it, play 24 minutes in the second half with no rest. If any one guy should have got 5 or 6 minutes a breather, maybe it was LeBron to play the other 4. No, JJ Redick went and played that entire unit, which I guess he believes. I bet you if I go, and it's funny, I bet you if I go on this website that was bestowed upon me in one of these YouTube groups, YouTube platform, Go James Kingdom by Brandon Katz, one of the guys commenting, I guarantee you I'll see that's probably their best lineup. I guarantee you. See, one thing about me, I'm going to say this again, I don't make points off of stats. I make point, and then I guarantee you that's their best 5-man lineup. Mr. Mind the Game said, let's go with this lineup. We got to win this. We got to win this getting back to L.A. We cannot go back down 3-1. And he treated it like a must-win game, and he played. He decided, I don't know if he decided it before the half. I remember when Tibbs played Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson in that elimination game versus Miami. That was his decision, and we almost won that game. We almost won that game. It was one, and again, it's one of those things where you sit there and wonder, like, damn, if you couldn't grab him a breather for about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe he would have been just a little bit fresher. Well, that's the same thing with LeBron, and there's another revelation off of this. That it was so that LeBron was the guy doing the most. Selling out on this is the guy that leads the NBA in stocks, right? Steals and blocks. Now, I've said this a few times. LeBron James saves his energy. LeBron James is not the guy that's going to sell out and play defense to make stops. He'll sell out if he can make a block or a steal. He'll put max effort. Now, to me, it must have seemed like he was putting max effort in that fourth quarter. I watched some of it. I didn't watch as much. I was really kind of looking at Randall. I was really kind of looking because I'm rooting for this. That's my pick. If you see on my channel, I picked the Wolves in 6. You know, and again, I was just giving. That was look. I stood on business. I said since March 2nd. I'm glad this was pulled up in one of the Facebook groups I chat in. The Timberwolves were 32-29. The Lakers were 40-23. Since that day, the Lakers are 13-11 in the regular season. They finished off the season 13-11. Or they were 4. Yeah, they were 4. They were 37. No, they were 37-20. They were 37-20 in March 2nd. That's what it was. They were 37-20. Since then, I mean, they pretty much finished off the season at a 13-11. It's a 13-12. You know, they were 37-21. They finished off 13-12, 13-11. And they were 1-3 now so far in the playoffs. So they're 14-14 since that day. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 18-4. For that and that reason only, I knew that the Minnesota Timberwolves were the hotter team. But I also looked at the top to bottom roster. Again, I was on arguing with FYF. I'm gonna call you out, Mr. Lamont. You thought you only, and it's crazy because I'm gonna sit there and say this. When I got on your panel, you let everybody get up, rant, say what they want about the Lakers, this and the third, the series, and they landed their plane. I didn't get a chance to land their plane. I actually said I agree with you. It's never one guy's fault. And then I said I think you're crazy. The Minnesota has the better roster. And it's proven. You know why it's proven? Because guess what? Mr. J.J. Redick didn't trust his fucking roster. He didn't trust his roster. Let's keep it a stat. He did not trust his roster. But Minnesota trusted theirs. And they erased a 10-point lead for the second time in the fourth quarter. The Lakers ran out of gas because they don't have the better roster. They might have the 2 best players in the series. And no, they really have 2 of the best 3 players in the series. And the way Randall plays in his role, I think Randall plays in his role better than LeBron has played in his role. Because guess what? Randall can be counted on in a second. Randall's defensive effort is more even during the game. Yeah, Randall will fuck off on some defensive plays. But Randall was able to give them what they need. Randall is steady playmaking. If you notice, LeBron is not playmaking. LeBron is not getting a lot of assists. And he's getting his turnovers. All right? So, with that said, yeah, he leads the NBA, he leads the playoff in stocks. Steals plus blocks, yes. LeBron is selling out to get as many steals and as many blocks as he can, and he's leading the league. He has 17 stocks through 4 games. 17 steals plus blocks. He has 8 and 9. 8 steals, 9 blocks. I believe that's the split. All right, OG Anunoby has 15. I think he reached second. I'll have to look at the updated standings, but now we have steals plus block. Yes, that tells me that LeBron is playing defense, sellout defense. I know he did for a quarter yesterday. And here's what you learn now. Here's what I've been saying for fucking years. If LeBron gave an honest, middling effort to playing defense over these past 5-6 years, LeBron's numbers would not be as impressive as they were. And that goes to show you, just on this sample size of the fourth quarter, where they said LeBron was too gassed at taking these shots. And he missed the 2. LeBron was giving you an average. So imagine if LeBron was doing, if this is one quarter, mind you, I get it. Yeah, that's a very impressive to have the cardio at 40 to play 24 minutes. I'm going to start off with that. But if LeBron was giving that effort, the proper effort that the Lakers have always needed to play in defense, that he would not get the numbers that he's getting. The numbers would go down. He would benefit. And that's the thing, though. You know where his numbers will be? Where 40-year-old Jordan was. Where Jordan did not cheat the fucking game and play. He played. Excuse the F-bomb, because this is really. I love when receipts pull themselves. I can sit there and say something for years and not find proof of it. And when I find proof of it, you goddamn right I'm going to jump on it. You damn right I'm going to jump on it. LeBron is showing if he put in any effort to playing defense, the way he stands like a statue to have the lactic. There's a lactic acid buildup. Anybody that plays ball understands it. You're getting that cardio, and there's a lactic acid in your legs. The legs are the first one to feel the burn. You get in basketball shape by running and basketball. Those are the two things where you feel that lactic acid buildup. You're running up and down. You're running and stopping and starting in basketball. And, anybody that knows about running, I was a Marine. I don't run no more. I can jog about a good half a mile, probably, if you ask me, if I needed to. But I'm my those, shout out Sports Fitness Rams. I'm sure you can still run your Navy days. But, if I had to run a half a mile, I could get through it. I might have to stop a couple of times, and I would have to work myself up to run my Marine Corps 3 miles. I probably will never run it under 30 minutes again, but, look, never say never. Never say never. I might get to my 50s and become a goddamn fitness freak myself. And you never know. But anyway, but that's the thing. LeBron has been that standing on defense, very strategic. And I heard them say it. I heard them speak about it. I heard, again, I don't really give too much credence to them making good basketball points on ESPN, but they were saying, LeBron, somebody, I think Windhorst said, or either Windhorst, I think Windhorst said LeBron, yes, Wendy said it. The guy who LeBron don't act like he don't know, he ain't come up with, or I'm sure Wendy was the fat slovenly kid that, was in the circles, but you ain't really, you the cool basketball star. You wasn't gonna, you're gonna treat him like the weirdo in the corner. But Wendy's made a very good point. He said LeBron has been great at resting in games. And that goes to show you, yes, LeBron rests in games, but he rests on offense, he rests on defense. He rests. He doesn't move. And again, it's two ways to handle this. There's two ways to handle that. Either you reduce his minutes because you need more effort from a team without a center. That's the other thing. The Lakers played without a center for the entire second half. LeBron is the tallest guy on the court, and then maybe Rui is 6'8". Maybe they were, who knows if you stand them side by side. Finney Smith, and then you got the backcourt. LeBron is the tallest player on the court, so and effectively he was their center. But and that is believed, and people believe that was a great defensive unit. It wasn't. I said it all along. You see, again, going back to the theme of my Knicks Pistons rant, they got away with a lot. They got away with a lot of clutching and grabbing, and it made you think that they were a great defensive unit. And I never believed that they were ever a great defensive unit. The Lakers, again, for all you guys, all you Laker fans, they were so goddamn gung-ho about this team actually being a favorite to get to the finals, even getting a favorite. And I said this again, if the Lakers get out the first round, then it depends on their matchup. If the Lakers get on their first round, and on March 2nd, the Minnesota Timberwolves were 31-28. They were the 10th seed. They were in the last play-in position. I've said all year that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win around 50 games. They're going to win anywhere from 45, 46. And I didn't know that 45 would have been the 10th seed back early in the season. But I said the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be fine. They're probably going to finish the season strong, and they're probably going to grab themselves a real playing spot, a real playoff spot with no playing. And they did it. The crazy part is they did it on the last day of the season. But see, everybody still looked at them as this team that slowed their way down through the season. And eventually, they got there. But they didn't realize coming into the season, they were one of the hottest teams in the league. Probably one of the 2 or 3 hottest teams in the league. They were hotter than the Golden State Warriors. Since March 2nd, I guarantee you their record is better than the Golden State Warriors. Now, I will say this. it wasn't that many impressive wins, probably 2 or 3. They lost to Milwaukee at one point. So there wasn't that many impressive wins on that, in that 18-4 surge to finish the season. But they're still the hottest team. And I believe all along they still had the better roster, especially than the Lakers. And again, receipts are pulled, bro. Receipts. They trusted their roster. JJ Redick didn't trust his. And that's the thing. If you think basketball is 5-on-5, especially in today's NBA, especially when you have to rely on everybody. Like LeBron was not LeBron in the fourth quarter in the last 2 games. And again, they go to his clutch. Well, bro, you ain't the first. Like, they do this in high school. They do this in college. They do this in high school and college, where teams, they'll play a solid 5, or they'll play four of the best starters the entire second half. And I know it's a 20-minute game versus 24 minutes, 4 extra minutes in pro for a half, but they'll play the entire, they'll do that quite often. Yeah, slower pace in college, so you got to take that into account as well. But they'll do that. So, unprecedentedly, this guy went with the whole 5 players. I mean, the whole 5, wasn't even a starting 5, because he started Jackson Hayes, played him 4 minutes. And, this was what he felt was his best. This is what he felt was his best offensive unit. It probably is. It probably is. You got one bona fide defender, and then you had to make LeBron step out of his element and play the defense that he's capable of with his athleticism. Just not, again, his mixed effort. So at the end of the day, man, everything I've been saying has been proven. The Lakers, let's start with this. Again, a few things came out of this. The Lakers are mid. I've said it all along. I said they're not a contender. I said they have a very good chance of getting knocked out in the first round. Everybody felt, look, for you guys that felt because they got LeBron and Luka, nobody could beat them. Well, team y'all didn't even consider. And I always said the whole season, Minnesota's going to be fine. The Knicks killed them in that trade. No, Minnesota's going to be fine. The trade actually worked out for both teams. We're missing, as the Knicks, we're still missing a few things. Like, I would love to have Devo. I would love to have Randall as well. The perfect world, we could have got Cat and not gave up either. But of course, if you're gonna get Cat, you're gonna give up a guy like Julius Randle, right? Guy that you made a two-time All NBA player, 3-time All-Star. All right. So, yeah, man. This is what happens. This is what's being proven. Yo, look, I am not a basketball savant. I'm just a guy who observes things. I am not a basketball savant. I can play the game. I play the game well enough to understand the game. I've been watching it long enough to understand things. Trust me, you cannot, I don't know shit about a playbook. I get on the court. I'm sure if you explain it to me, if you tutored me on it, I can understand the playbook and I can coach. But I'd be one of them head coaches that don't know shit about X and O's. I can recognize a couple of things, all right? But I know general basketball knowledge. I know the game. I know fundamentals, all right? And I've seen what I've seen. You know what I'm saying? I see what I see. My memory is long. I have a very good long-term memory. Okay? And when it comes down to it, these are the things These are the things that came to fruition. You know, what I said about the Knicks all year, again, are we front runners? No. Are we one of the teams that can get to the Final Four? Yeah. Okay, we're in a we're in a tough part of the bracket with Boston. Boston is hitting all the cylinders, but Boston got a couple of kinks. Boston got a couple of chinks in the armor. Again, there's no juggernauts this year. I said, there's another thing I said all year. There's no juggernauts. There's nobody that's, maybe OKC, and even OKC has one thing. Because if for that Memphis team to have y'all down 29, you know, again, you got to do that 4 times, and that's the hard part. But for that Memphis team to have y'all down 29, y'all are not the Jordan Bulls. They're not Jordan Bulls. But right now, they're my pick. They're my pick to win it all because they've shown to be the best team. But that doesn't matter. You know what? That doesn't matter right now. It's about matchups. So when the matchups come down to it, when the matchups play out, we don't know who's going to win. You can't assume. We're not going to assume. So at this point, everybody that wants I swear, everybody knew that the Lakers were getting to the conference finals at minimum. Now they're down 3-1. Well, again, some of these things that I've covered, I know I've been rambling on for a while. You know, for those that feel me, for those that see the game away, and I see this a lot in comments now of some of these posts that I've been looking through. People are seeing what I'm seeing as well. I see it all. I see as much as I see a lot. I can't say I see it all. Some things I miss. But I see it all. I see a lot. Everything that's in my... people like to, people like to think they're explaining the game to me. Well, again, you might be able to explain X's and O's to me and coverages and certain things. I'll catch on quick. I just never been a, X's and O's playbook. I never played enough organized basketball to look at the X's and O's and technical shit. But, yeah, I know the game. I know the fundamentals. I know the basics of the game. And at the end of the day, bro, a lot of you guys fell for the ESPN headlines and the this and the third. And at the end of the day, team basketball, especially at this part of the season, especially the playoffs, is going to be, you got to have a team. JJ Redick playing 5 guys for the second half is indicative of the fact that the Lakers will have a floor team. And it's funny. I watch a guy like Wendy say that the Lakers have a flawed roster. Funny, he says this on the NBA. Now maybe this is something he thought all along, but they never challenged him to say this on ESPN. It's very quite possible that he thought this all along, but they never allowed him to say it. Now it's proven that the Lakers are a flawed team. They should have known this. You traded your best perimeter defender to get Luka. You traded your best, and again, you had 3 guys who were fucking traffic cones. Well, 2 guys at least, because you didn't have Luka at the time. Now you got 3 guys who are traffic cones. LeBron has to step up and say, well, no, I'm going to actually have to play defense now because Luka and what's the name can't. This is what happens when you cheat the game. So, Laker fans, I've been saying this. Look, you can call me a hater. You can call me whatever you want. This is the shit I've been saying all along. I have never shied away from saying what I'm saying here. That the Lakers are flawed. And when I called, it wasn't me wishing. And look, yeah, things could have played out. A couple of bounces here and there. But it really does say something. It really does say something when they've won these games coming from behind. They've won this game winning the long game, wearing the Lakers down, wearing the Lakers out, making the clutch plays. It says something. LeBron, you wanted to be clutch player of the year. You went scoreless for 5 minutes. Not only did you go scoreless, you didn't have many stats at all. You didn't have a lot of assists. You made a couple of blocks. You made a block or 2, but you didn't make positive plays down the stretch. And for you to believe that you were the clutch player of the year, you weren't. You had no business even on it. Bruh, what are we talking here? LeBron is horrible in the clutch. LeBron like a Cade Cunningham, like these big guys, they're very good at getting downhill. They're very good when things are opened up for them already. They're not good at opening things up. That's what Jalen Brunson did. Go look at the variety of shots. The Knicks were down and out. He came in down 9. That's the fucking clutch player of the year. And anybody, I guarantee you, I will slay you in any debate that you're going to tell me that someone else is the clutch player of the year or more clutch than Jalen Brunson is right now. Period. All right. I'm trying to do my food shopping. I'll catch y'all later.